Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live, and the this week's organ recital live stream action roundup for the week of March 16th to March 23rd, 2026. Yes, it is almost officially springtime, and we have an interesting lineup of 7 different organ recitals for you this week. Starting out with the trio of young up-and-coming organists, young men all in Toronto, London, and Cornwall, followed by a trio of accomplished organists, older men in Moscow, Paris, and Tomsk, Siberia, not to mention a magical organ, harp, soprano, and sound animation fairy tale organ extravaganza in Moscow as well, with our sole woman organist of the week. So let's get right down to what we have for you. Before I go any further, let me remind you, if you love organ recitals or any of the performing arts live online, do yourself a favor, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, or LinkedIn. And we'll make sure you get more than 1,000 live links to live performances online this year. So let me start with the first of our 3 young uns, each of whom is either an organ scholar or has recently been an organ scholar. Tuesday, March, let me start this over again. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Tuesday, the 17th. Tuesday, March 17th, St. James Cathedral, Toronto, live streams their former organ scholar and now assistant organist, Jean-Paul Fayot, playing their 87 rank 4 manual and 6 division organ with 5,101 pipes there in Toronto. That'll be at 1 o'clock Toronto time, 10 in the morning, Los Angeles time or Vancouver, Canada time, if we stay in Canada, 6 in the evening here in Europe. Jean-Paul Fayot was the Wayne Vance organ scholar at St. James last year, and then when they got to the springtime last year, they decided to make him their assistant organist. He's a sophomore at the University of Toronto, still studying for his BA in music and organ performance. An early music enthusiast who transcribes ancient manuscripts for fun. So maybe he'll be playing some early music. We don't know. They never tell us what they're going to be playing there. But he has been giving recitals at various churches and cathedrals around the city. So that's on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, March 18th, Temple Church London, in conjunction with the Keyboard Trust, will live stream up-and-coming organist, choir director, and arranger Alexander Trigg, playing Elgar Howells and César Franck. And that'll be at 2:15 in the afternoon London time, which will be 9:15 in the morning in New York, 6:15 in Los Angeles, and a little past midnight down under in Australia. If you're on the the east coast of Australia, but if you're on the west coast, it'll be even earlier. It'll be more like 10 in the evening in Perth, I think. Anyway, he's been organ scholar at a number of places, at St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, where he got to play for the royal family, then at St. John's College, Cambridge, where he also earned his fellowship in the Royal College of Organists, and now he's continuing as a postgrad student of organ at the Royal Birmingham Conservatory. Last week he was at St. John's, Cardiff playing. Next week he'll be at All Saints Church, Tudley, and St. George's Church, Hanover Square. He has a concert at St. Paul's Cathedral in London upcoming, concerts in Amsterdam, Berlin, and Cologne this year. He'll be playing Elgar's Allegro Maestoso from the Sonata in G. He'll be playing Herbert Howell's Rhapsody No. 1 in D flat and César Franck's Chorale No. 1 in E major. He's also very interested in choir directing. He's the former assistant director of the Cambridge Schola. And he's also been chorus accompanist and deputy chorus master for the Cambridge Phil. And he has actually founded a place called St. Andrew's Music School, which is a charity in South Cambridge, doing outreach to disadvantaged students from disadvantaged backgrounds and giving them free tuition and performing opportunities. And he also runs something called the Festival of Choirs, a company which brings together choirs from around the world to perform large-scale concerts in large-scale venues. That Keyboard Charitable Trust, that's been around for more than 30 years, and they pick out young keyboard players and create opportunities for them to perform in prestigious venues like Temple Church London and other places. And then the third of our youngins comes up on Thursday. And I forgot to change pictures there. You know, I get excited, I get carried away, and you know what I do? I make mistakes. And so I did not show you Alexander Trigg's picture. I'll show it to you now, but it's a little late because I've already done all the talking about him. Let's move on to Thursday's Truro Cathedral offering and the young organist who will be playing at that. And there he is. Truro Cathedral continues its March to October organ recital series with their own organ scholar, Alfie Beston, playing their esteemed Father Willis organ. That'll be at 2:10 in the afternoon European time on Thursday, 9:10 in the morning in New York, 6:10 in the morning in Seattle, and a little after midnight down under in Australia, if you're on the East Coast, like Sydney and Melbourne. But if you're on the West Coast in Perth, it'll be earlier. Anyway, he is the Cathedral's organ scholar for this academic year. Formerly had a music scholarship at Seven Oaks School, was the organ scholar at St. Giles the Abbot in Farnborough, has been associate organist at St. John's the Evangelist in Bromley. These are all very, very British places. He's also a woodwind player and a composer. Now, he did something very ambitious that all his biographies talk about. When he was only 17 years old, he did something in memory of his mother, who had died a few years earlier of brain cancer, which was discovered and then very suddenly she had passed. And he reworked Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor with more than 40 musicians to create a whole new arrangement of the piece. Ended up with more than 150 audio tracks, which then he got a top engineer to help him mix and all of that, and used to do fundraising for research in how to fight this kind of cancer. So a heck of a guy. And those are the three, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the three up-and-coming young organists, each for his own reasons, an interesting guy. So then we move on Saturday and Sunday and Monday to our three more established adult organists, each of whom is very interesting in his own accomplished way. Starting on Saturday. And let me remember, this time I'll remember to change the picture. For once, let me do something right. I picked this picture of this particular organist because it shows him with a real Cheshire cat kind of smile, although there are others which show him looking much more impressive. Saturday, March 21st, Jesús Sampedro, organist and professor at the Seville Conservatory in Spain, plays music of Semana Santa, Spanish music of Holy Week, by Cebrián, Correa de Araujo, Fonteante, Torres, Allegri, and more on that Kuhn organ at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Live stream free of charge by Artbene. That'll be at 6 in the evening, European time, which will make it 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast and 10 in the morning on the West Coast. And if you see other times in our notes, they were mistakenly put together. I just noticed that mistake. He's also president of he has a real place in his heart for Cavaillé coal organs. He's president of the Association of Friends of the Cavaillé coal organ in Sevilla, in Spain. And he started out studying at the conservatory in Sevilla and then in Malaga, but he finished up in Parisian Academy at the National Conservatory of Saint-Maur-des-Fossés, and then had additional training in Madrid and Paris, and directs an international series of organ concerts. And he appears fairly often playing concerts in Russia and in other countries, but particularly in Russia. A year ago, he was playing in Tomsk, and at the Tomsk Philharmonics on their organ. Russia is not a big organ country because the churches are all Orthodox, and Orthodox churches don't favor these massive organs that the Catholic churches did. So if you're going to play the organ, in Russia, well, you've got the Catholic Cathedral where this concert is. You've got the Tomsk Philharmonic, and there's another garden orchestra outside of Moscow, and that's about it. Anyway, so I'll go over some of these things. A number of these composers that he's playing were composers that he played last year when he played at Tomsk, although he played a different selection at Tomsk. So he'll play Emilio Cebrian's March dedicated to the holy image of our Lord Jesus Christ, which he transcribed for organ himself. Then he'll do a piece by Francisco Correa de Araujo called Tiento 4. Then he'll do Antonio Pantillon's March dedicated to the holy image of Christ of the seven words, Cristo de las siete palabras, which he transcribed for organ. Then another piece by Correa de Araujo, Tiento de medio registro de dos tiple de tuo tono, a middle register tiento for the two upper voices in the second tone. Then a piece that a composer that he played last year in Tomsk, Manuel Font de Anta, Soleil, Give Me Your Hand, which he transcribed. Then a piece by Eduardo Torres. He played Torres last year in Tomsk. Saeta 4. Saeta Cuatro, yeah. Then another piece by Manuel Font de Anta, whom he played last year. Sorrows, Amarguras, which he transcribed. Then a piece by Gregorio Allegre, Miserere mei Deus, have mercy on me, O God, from Psalm 51. And then he'll finish up with Jose de la Vega, whom he played last year, March dedicated to the holy image of Our Lady of the Valley of Sevilla, which he transcribed. So that's Jesús Sampedro Marquez for you, playing a very Spanish program at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow on Saturday, March 21st. That's about as elaborate as it gets. They love to be elaborate at that Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Next up then on Sunday will be one of the regulars that you can hear fairly often on Sunday playing in Paris, France. Why don't I put up their version of the ad while we're at it? Sunday, March 22nd, St. Eustache Church live streams their resident organist Baptiste Florian Marle-Ouvrard playing Richard Wagner, César Franck, and Camille Saint-Saëns on the 7,952 pipe Van den Heuvel organ there. That'll be at 5 in the afternoon, which is their usual Sunday afternoon time there in the heart of Paris. Noon on the East Coast in the U.S., 9 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. It's Wagner's Prelude and Liebestod from Tristan and Isolde, Franck's Cantabile, Camille Saint-Saëns' Aquarium, The Swan from the Carnival of the Animals, and Camille Saint-Saëns' Danse Macabre, as transcribed by Edwin Lemar. It's if you follow St. Eustache's live stream series, you know that he's a top performing concert organist, does a lot of performing at other churches in France and around in Europe. He's was named one of the resident organists there at St. Eustache Church about 10 years ago, at the end of the period when, and his name escapes me, the legendary organist who was there before him, but he was brought in at a very young age, along with Thomas Hospital, to take over. And if the name comes back to me before this program is over, I will let you. Jean Guilou. It was Jean Guilou, who was a legendary organist there at Saint Eustache for many years. So, and then we move on to a Monday live stream, which I think will be very interesting to some of you. Another accomplished veteran organist who's on a regular basis. Franz Liszt did write music for the organ, and on Monday, March 23rd, the Tomsk Philharmonic's resident concert organist Dmitry Ushakov will prove it in their exclusively online live stream concert series called Organ Live. And this one's called Pianist at the Organ, and he'll be playing music, organ music by Franz Liszt. That'll be at 7 o'clock in the evening, Krat, Siberian time, which will make it 1 o'clock here in Europe, which will make it 7 in the morning in New York City. And you don't want to know what time it's going to be earlier in the day than that. Included, this will be Liszt Fantasy and Fugue on the theme of the chorale Ad Nos ad Salutarum Undam from Meyerbeer's opera, The Prophet. But other than that, we don't have all the details on what he's going to be playing. But he's a very top guy, and he usually gives explanations in between the different pieces he plays, explaining to you why he chose that piece of music and all of that. Of course, he does all of that in Russian. So you need to brush up on your Russian if you really want to understand all of that. And now there's one more live stream that I do want to tell you about before we're finished. It's a little special, and so I want to tell you about it. It's this one. It's going to be a live stream of the Little Mermaid, with a lot of people involved in doing it, and I want to show you all of the people who will be in it. So let me replace this photo with the participants. Saturday, March 21st, the Catholic Cathedral, Moscow, brings to life Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid fairy tale with sand animation by Lydia Miller, Maria Moiseyeva on the organ, soprano Svetlana Polyanskaya singing, harpist Maria Kulakova, and actress Ingeborga Lubomirskaya offering the narration. Music by Bach, Charpentier, Saint-Saëns, Tchaikovsky, Dvorak, Rachmaninoff, and more. This will be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon European time, because it'll be at 3 in the afternoon in Moscow, 8 o'clock in the morning in New York, 5 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, and 11 o'clock in the evening, Saturday evening, down under in Australia. I am just agog over these sand animation kind of concerts. Let me tell you a little bit about the different participants. Maria Kulakova on the harp. She plays with an Iranian classic music ensemble in Moscow. Maria Moiseyeva is a favorite veteran organist, regularly playing at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow and connected with the Moscow Conservatory. And Lydia Miller is the sand animation artist. What this will be is, let me show you some pictures. The reason I love this is I love the sand animation. And I think I put together some sand animation photos if I can find them. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to find them now. Hold on a moment. I had them all assembled separately. And now I'm having trouble digging them up for you, which is kind of a shame. Hold on a moment. I do want to show you these pictures. And now I'm not able to locate them again. Well, that's a real crying shame because I made a special effort to show you some of them. Let me, what I can do is I can show you some individual ones of what it looks like here. When they did a version of the Little Mermaid a year ago, this is one of the sand animation images. And what is while they're telling the story and different musical pieces accompany each scene in the story, Lydia Miller will be showing you different pictures of sand animation of this kind. And that's a picture from when they were doing the Little Mermaid before. Here's another example of that's from when they were doing Alice in Wonderland. And I think this kind of, and she just creates new, and you see the image being sketched into the sand. So you see the image being done while you're watching. And I just find it absolutely magical to see that kind of creativity being exercised before your eyes while you're watching it with image after image after image. Here it is. I found, okay, I found the assembly of it that I had dug up for you with a series of photos from different. Here's one from The Princess and the Pea. I mean, to me, these are just lovely images, and you get that while they're playing this great music. And so, what kind of music are they going to be playing? Well, they start out with that piece "Aquarium" by Camille Saint-Saëns, which just coincidentally on Sunday, Baptiste Florian Marle-Ouvrard is going to be playing on the organ in Paris. Then they'll do Charpentier's Louise's aria from Depuis le Jour from the opera Louise, Tchaikovsky's Waltz from the opera Eugene Onegin, the Pavane by Fauré, Dvorak's an aria from the opera Rusalka, the Rachmaninoff Vocalise, which we all know so well. Bach's Toccata in D minor, etc., etc., and they'll finish up with the Bach Gounod Ave Maria. I mean, just a lovely series of different pieces of music and with singing by an expert soprano and all of that. It's just I love these concerts, and I don't know how to recommend them highly enough to anybody who might be interested in enjoying them. So with that, that's what we have for you this week. I hope that one or more of these live streams inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. I'll remind you, if you like this kind of content, do yourself a favor, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and we'll make sure you get more than 1,000 live links to live performances online in the coming year. I'll say ciao for now. I'll be back tomorrow at about the same time to tell you all about this week's chamber music live stream action.